Alright guys, so welcome back to the Rising Empires League. We got Division 2 here with Rider SWAT in the light blue trunks as Rus paired with Hussein M81 in the blue trunks on Mongols. So they're playing for Team Fresh Noob Stuff or FNS. Their opponents today are Big Old Giraffe here in the purple on HRE and Vemos on Red English playing for Team Big Monkas or BMS. We're here today on Basin, the Gobi Desert tile set. Really nice red dirt African tile set here. What's up with the girl? What the fuck? Isn't that supposed to be on top of the wagon, not underneath the wagon? What the hell am I witnessing? Anyway, should be an interesting one with HRE and English up against Rus and Mongol. So all these civs should actually have pretty good early game potential here. In fact, we've got a stables opening here for Hussein. A little bit more expensive than the barracks opening, but gives you that bit more mobility. Does also mean there's a bit more pressure on you to actually get some value out of it early on, or cut after only a pair or a pair of pairs of the horsemen. We're using the Gur scouting, and we're actually seeing the stuff comprising the building on top of the wagon now, rather than shoved underneath it and somehow still being pulled along on the cart. Mongolians figured out how to break physics. Maybe that's why they managed to conquer so much of the world. Rider SWAT actually has cut a gap through his forest here to be able to build this hunting cabin. So it's going to generate a bit more wood, a bit more gold than they normally would. And this meant that he's had to just distance gather some wood for now. This is going to mean 60 gold a minute rather than the normal 30. And I think on even more dense tree clumps you can actually get this as high as just under 100. We've got early horsemen harassing the base of Big Old Giraffe, but he's already going on the Arch and Chapel. He's managed to fit this in. Quite well timed. And Rider SWAT already up to 250 gold gathered, so he's already got quite a bit of gold out of the early game here. Going Golden Gate so he can even sell some of it. Well, buy wood or buy food. And that hunting cabin nicely, safely nestled inside the tree line there. But as I said, it's not necessarily the tightest packed tree line here. So if it was, he'd be able to get as high as about 90 to 100 gold. He's only getting about 70 at the moment. English player Demos now getting his longbows. Insane. Trying to harass Big Old Giraffe, but the beauty of being HRE, he does have the emergency repairs, so that's going to delay the Mongol player and being able to burn down structures and get free resources out of doing so. So we got a prelate over in the middle of things here. Probably needs to get inside that Arch and Chapel. Scout versus scout battle here, but Rider SWAT going to back off out of that. And it looks like there's no gold mine here for Hussein. His closest gold mine is the one up the front here, so he's actually going to gather from the gold mine of Rider SWAT. Getting a silver tree now, because this will be quite worth it if you can park that up in the corner and gather from the trading post. We got big old giraffe going for a barracks now. And Demos just starting to stack up a good count of those longbows. Looks like Rider SWAT's scout is getting out on minimal health there. In fact, I think big old giraffe actually backed out there rather than finishing him off. Don't think he realized just how low Rider SWAT's scout was then. Rider SWAT going for that town center because he's been able to just buy 2 lots of stone. And he's just gathered... Has he got any stone? Yeah, he's just gathered 50 stone as well. Rider SWAT trying to finish off the rest of the hunt there. He's up to 500 gold in total here. This is pretty impressive because he's now able to generate even more bonus gold out of the hunting cabin, and on top of that he's able to gather 15% faster than everyone else before any eco-techs are included. Oh, and this is deadly. The boar was even assisting the villagers there, so 3 or 4 of those got picked off by Demos there. It's been a very good push for him. It's going to really slow down the amount of value that Rider SWAT gets out of this, and you know, like I was saying, he's actually getting a fair bit from the fact that he's got Rus to 500 bounty gold. He'll be able to get to 575 if he can get this boar. Still leaving a couple of units garrisoned there, and the longbow's not quite there in time to actually pick off the boar and deny the bounty gold. But Hussein now coming back to try and support his teammate Rider SWAT here. Big old giraffe and Demos just stacking up their armies together. Just trying to deny use of that trade post because there is actually a market back at Hussein's base, and he'll be looking to bring his silver tree over if he can. So ideally he wants to have the silver tree parked here producing the extra cheap caravans. They run to the trade post and they run straight up onto his other market. So we'll be setting up for that now. Nice harassing here from Demos, trying to get another villager, but he's bleeding another longbow in the process. But he can keep basically taking that trade. A longbow for a villager over and over again will eventually just mean that his opponent's not able to get any value out of having that second town center. Especially because he's stacked up so tightly. And it looks like he can't actually gather the boar with it positioned right there. Demos. Oh yeah, you can still gather from the boar, but Demos has made this really awkward and he's overqueuing onto that one deer. So in the meanwhile, big old giraffe is trying to zone out Rider SWAT, zone cavalry, as well as Hussein's cavalry, and Hussein's needing to try and get some damage done himself. He sent these caravans all the way up here onto this market because they've both sort of been pressured out off this one here. So yeah, that silver tree is pretty much just rallying back into the base, and then Hussein's manually rallying up to here towards the top market line. And Rider SWAT having to get a fortress to help defend the town center at the moment. Wheel giraffe chasing Hussein back. How much of these can I actually give him? The longbows, good number and good time to come in here. Pick off another couple of villages while the fortress is going up. So Rider SWAT, he's top score for his team at the moment, but not really able to get the full value out of the second town center. And big ol' giraffe is actually top total score. Demos is kind of in the middle here. and able to make sure that one of his enemies isn't outpacing his ally economically. These traders are being rallied straight into the corner, now onto the market, so a little bit inefficient there. But now they're going to bring back nearly 190 resources, and Hussein's managed to squeeze in a quick castle age here, getting a Kurultai for the health aura and bonus damage that offers. Demos trying to get some rams here. He and Giraffe looking to try and push into the Rus base, which, unlike the Mongol base, isn't just going to be something you can lift up and get out of here. Now Radiswat having to retreat because he's sort of waiting for Hussein. Come and back him up, Hussein. Still only on the 4 traders. Now, he benefiting from the Kurultai here? Yeah, he is. That's repacking and shifting forward. We've got some veteran archers. We've even got a crossbow in the mix here. So Hussein can add those in and really mess with even the man-at-arms here now. Kurultai making this a lot harder fight for our big Monkus team to fight into fresh noob stuff. The fresh noob stuff taking full advantage of the fact they've got that regeneration and damage steroid. Now the knights being picked off of Radiswat, so big old Giraffe is now going straight in on the archers, backed up by Demos' longbows at the moment. So Hussein and Radiswat, their range ball, having to back off. Can't afford to throw away the Kurultai or they lose a lot of this damage bonus they've got. Radiswat and Demos still stuck in age 2 at the moment, with no age 3 in sight just yet. Nowhere near the resources for that. Hussein, a huge gold bank actually. It looks like he's still only got the 4 traders. Big old Giraffe now parking a single scout there, which isn't going to be able to clear them quickly, but it will give him the intel that he needs to actually send, you know, a couple of scouts, a couple of cavalry units or a couple of archers there. Just camp that market line, make it impossible to get the gold generation. He knows his opponent's not getting it from here because Demos has got that outpost already. There's an attempt at conversion there just to try and save the monk, and it's not successful. And now big old Giraffe is going to be aware of a market line here of Hussein's. Radiswat, Demos still in age 2, no sign of age 3 just yet. Neither of them particularly close to getting it either. We're also having to pack up and back off a little bit, but while it's packed up, it's not giving the buff to the to the team of the Mongolian players, so he's going to want this to finish up as quick as he can. For whatever reason, doesn't seem to be able to get it placed. So there, he's going to finish up now. But it may be too little too late because Demos is a pretty massive squadron of archers there now. He's going to be able to back off anyway. Not quite able to take out the town centre. But, oh, big old Giraffe's converted one of the traders here. It's an interesting choice to do that, because what's he going to do with it? Bring it home and have it sit under the town centre? I mean, it does prevent his opponent from trading with it, but it just locks up a population of his now. So it's an interesting decision to see a single trader get caught up in a relic conversion. And it's not as though we have a market here yet for big old Giraffe. Though he is now chasing the caravans with some infantry, so these guys will be able to start working away at the traders and picking them off. So they do travel slightly faster than the infantry, particularly the HRE infantry with their marching grills upgrade. It looks like Demos is set to go to castle with Rider SWAT not too far off it either. I don't understand why big old Giraffe is just carrying a single relic here, not doing anything with it. But most of his eco is empowered. He probably could have this guy down here empowering, but not to worry. It's like Demos is really taking the fight to Rider SWAT here. And Demos Castle Age finishing up. Rider SWAT still. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. Sane's still got a pair of traders, but that's it at the moment. Not restarting the trader economy. Already got a pair of relics. This one trader looks like it's rallied onto the trading post and back to the silver tree, which is something he probably doesn't want. So, Rider SWAT finally able to go to his age 3 with a high trade house. We've got a white tower here for Demos. So this is an extremely aggressive or defensive pick, and considering the placement extremely defensive, he could be going for a... is it the White Palace? The one that's a town center? Age up landmark, which is pretty standard for English, but and particularly when you're the aggressor. Right now he is, so seeing a White Palace instead of a what's the other English landmark? I'll just have a quick look. So yeah, he's gone. But White Town, I think that's a really strange choice, considering he could be going for the Council Hall. Oh, not the Council, that's fucking Longbow one. Anyway, fuck it, I've forgotten the name of it, but you know the one with the town centre. So we got control of the sacred site here. And Rider SWAT being repelled here. Looks like Demos is going to get that town centre now. Big old Giraffe trying to capture back this sacred site from Rider SWAT, and he is actually raiding him now at the moment. While Hussein's just added an awful lot of rangers here. In fact, he's got 7 in total, looking to get on an 8th as well. And the 4 stables, so he's got a lot of production at the moment. An awful lot of crossbows in the mix, so he should be able to shoot through this Holy Roman Empire army pretty quickly. And this high trade house giving 140 gold, so it's a nice choice. You don't have to sacrifice gold on getting warrior monks to try and actually capture relics, but in saying that, if he wants to get warrior monks at all this game, I'm sure that ends up paying for itself as well because they're cheaper out of the other landmark. Kurultai being deployed once again. So the extra damage and healing here for our fresh noob stuff team is actually really starting to pay off. even without much of a front line left, there's plenty of crossbows in the mix here, so the knights and the man-at-arms are falling really quickly. Now the longbow's finding out they've got to back off there, they can't stick around. Big old giraffe just walling up that market, so these traders have no use anymore, other than possibly running around the bottom of the map. So Hussein and Rider Squad trying to prevent Themos from pushing further and further into Rider Squad's base here. He's actually swapped all of his gold out to food and wood there. With the support of the Kurultai, it looks like he's able to hold on here, and this thing can get out of here pretty quickly. These package buildings are actually faster than actual traders. And I think that's wrong. That Lancer, sorry. Probably not a fight he should be taking. And Hussein trying to muster up enough of a force to support his ally here. The hunting cabin being taken out. It's a massive 9 gold a minute being denied here. So now, it looks like Big Old Giraffe's going to look at trying to control all the sacred sites, because he and Themos are in the position where they can hold all three with relatively little difficulty. They're just probably going to need to put a keep up on this one and just keep the pressure going on this one. Well, this one back at home, all they've really got to do is maybe just put a bit of a zigzag of a wall around it. There's already an outpost with a relic garrison, so for HRE, you get some pretty juicy defensive stats out of that. So it's the King's Palace is what I think Themos should have gone for instead of the White Tower. But I mean, it does save him having to build a stables, but he's already built one anyway, so I think he probably would have been worth off going for King's Palace because of that extra villager production. Meanwhile, we've got Regnant's Cathedral here for Big Old Giraffe, so he's getting a really nice gold gather rate out of this. He's got 4 relics, so ultimately he is getting, yeah, 8 relics worth in total. Or doesn't it benefit? Yeah, it does benefit the one in the outpost as well. So he's getting 8 relics benefit out of the game. And Rider Squad's struggling to keep the opponents out here. Hussein is actually in a nice spot. He's managed to boom incredibly heavily behind all this, and he's actually the top scorer at the moment. Themos and Big Old Giraffe are pretty much even in terms of score in the middle of the pack, but now they're starting to bring Hussein tumbling down as he's trying to take some nice fights with these crossbows, but his allies already really starting to feel it. And now Big Old Giraffe, he's actually just outside of the radius there because he's not actually capturing for whatever reason, even though it looks as though he's inside. Oh, okay. Oh, that'd be why, because Hussein's got a shaman there instead. So I thought it might have just been a bug. I didn't notice the shaman. So he needs to kill him so he can capture the sacred site. Conversely, Hussein needs to kill the prelate so his shaman can capture the sacred. And Team Fresh Noob Stuff is just struggling to muster up the army they need to push Team Big Monkus out of the base of Rider Squad here. More production facilities under pressure here. And these upgraded man-at-arms won't be easy for the town centre to take out alone. But with Themos sending some cavalry over here, it's just going to get deleted trying to tear down the mangonel. Not going to be able to get it. So that's a bit lucky there for Rider Squad, because he's going to need every bit of siege he can muster up here. Looks like the man-at-arms are just going to press the attack straight on the mangonel and take that out. The longbows are all scattered as staggered stance as well. Makes it hard to get a lot of value out of the mangonel splash then. No one's cleaned up this central shaman yet. Big Giraffe's just rallying everything straight across the field, right next to the shaman and completely oblivious to it in the way. Looks like Ridaswat's main town centre is being taken out here. He's already lost one and not been able to replace it at all, so his economy is going to come to a bit of a standstill. But he's gathered a lot through all this. I mean, he's not been able to produce as much as he'd like, perhaps. But he does have the capacity to go to age 4 through all this. Although not anymore, he needs to gather a bit of more food and spend a bit more gold. So he's actually over gathering on the gold here. Probably needs to get half of these guys onto that hunt, getting some more food. Actually throwing down another mining camp just to mine a bit more efficiently, but again, it's a bit slow in actually gathering a bit more food. He's got about enough gold he needs to actually hit Imperial Age. Hussein's still locked in castle. In fact, at the moment, everyone's still locked in castle. Hussein giving Ridaswat a little bit in the way of resources. Hussein's finding some of his structures are now under attack from Big Ol' Giraffe. And Demos is just cleaning up the main base of Ridaswat at this point, who's gathering sort of all around the map, doing what best he can. Demos adding more rams into the mix here. Got Giraffe with an awful lot of infantry. He finally realized the shaman was here, so that has been going on for about 6 or 7 minutes there. But the shaman and the prelate having a standoff, just yelling religious sayings at one another from across the sides of the sacred site. So there's finally a man-at-arms there, cleaning all that up. Now the pressure is really on Hussein, because Ridaswat's copped the brunt of the attacks so far, and Hussein's been able to boom up somewhat through all this. He's been trying to support his ally through all of it though. But Big Ol' Giraffe and Demos, it looks as though their composition for the time being is seemingly unmatched. But there's a lot of knights now in the mix. Demos probably needing to get a couple of crossbows here, just to clean up these knights a little bit quicker. Man-at-arms actually all getting picked off very quickly of Big Ol' Giraffe's. Yeah, Demos, even though he's got the range advantage of the longbows, doesn't quite have the punch of the crossbows against heavy units. So while these man-at-arms of Big Ol' Giraffe are getting shredded by Hussein, Demos's archers aren't really doing all that much to the knights of Ridaswat. Now, trebuchets even being used against units, not necessarily against buildings here, which is interesting because they don't do a lot of damage to the units. They're great against structures, but against units you're probably going to want mangonels if anything. The crossbows actually slightly beaten by the longbows in terms of the actual attack range. And they're just a little bit more cost effective too, because I mean ultimately you're paying for crossbows to pay for an anti-heavy unit damage. So whereas the longbows, not as much overall damage, and their bonus is only against light melee, not light units in general, but even still you can engage those crossbowmen from afar, get a little bit of damage off for free, and really turn the fight your way. So now we've got a keep going up in Ridaswat's original base, and Big Ol' Giraffe actually mining out all of his gold. So these guys eager to take map control. They're a little bit unaware of just how much of the map in the center here that they've pretty much let Team Fresh Noob stuff have for free. So even though they look like they're well ahead, Team Monkas, Big Monkas, sorry, are gonna let this keep go up pretty much unopposed. There's even some food there. Plenty of gold still here for Hussein and Rider SWAT, and it's actually going to put a lot of this production of big old giraffes under pressure here. Man, he has so many barracks. How many barracks is that? That's unbelievable. He's up to fucking 14 barracks. I mean, I understand your Holy Roman Empire, man, but there are other units in the civilization you can use. So, Imperial Age for big old giraffe. In fact, depending on which landmark he's gone for, it's possibly cheaper. Here we go. He's gone for Ellsbach Palace rather than... what's a cheaper town centre that they get? Their Age 4 landmark. So Ellsbach is actually no cheaper than the regular landmark, so it just goes to show how far ahead he and Themos are in economy, who's also just hit Imperial. It actually buffs nearby buildings of your own, not your allies unfortunately, but pretty hefty damage reduction buff. Things slowing down here for a little bit while Team Big Monkas is just sort of preparing to take the fight, waiting to get some upgrades. And in we go. While Hussein, a little bit of cavalry trying to raid the base of big old giraffe here. These guys have not really been able to go for caravan, eco. You know, they've been locked out of those two neutral trading posts. They can always try and sneak a market up over here, but bearing in mind big old giraffe has put houses here, so you can't go all the way up. Nice little raid here from Hussein. But even though big old giraffe probably can't afford to lose too much eco here, I think Themos can probably transfer him the resources to help him get through this at this point, because he's got a massive food bank. And he's got a lot of rams on the way into Hussein's base. Rider SWAT's not been able to fully recover here. A lot of idlers too, so that's never good for his economy. He snuck in some villagers to try and go for this little fort, but we've already seen just about all the villagers get killed here by big old giraffe, and I mean by Hussein of big old giraffes. So Hussein, even though he's killed a lot of eco, big old giraffe is still top score by a long way, so it doesn't seem to have phased him at all. And now he's going to push straight into Hussein's base. There is a lot of pastures here, funneling sheep here, but they'll no longer be able to do so. And GG, Hussein's tapping out. Rider SWAT won't be far away, and Big Monkas takes the first game of fresh noob stuff.